A group of Sioux City's 4th Academy students are told to meet in the courtyard where they are to stand above a magical symbol. Principal Zhu Long informs the students that today they will become players of the inner world. Anyone who stands within the magical circle will be assigned a class. These classes are completely randomized and involve the swordsman, the knight, the assassin, and the powerful mage. Principal Zhu gives the command to activate the magical symbol, causing it to brighten and gleam around the students. In the center of the formation is Zhao Yu. He's thinking back about all the hard work that he's put in since his reincarnation 18 years ago to get to this point.
Now, this world they're a part of is known as the Kaiji Star. The Kaiji Star is a planet in a parallel universe, but it's extremely similar to Earth itself. You know what I'm saying? Now, what separates it from Earth is the artificially developed inner world, which we spoke about before. The inner world converged upon the human world, which caused these dungeons to appear all around Kaiju. So, around the age of 18, human beings are given these abilities. These abilities are rewarded to them through what is known as the transfer formation. That is the same thing as what we talked about earlier, which was that giant magical circle that everybody was standing in the middle of. These abilities are used in order to clear these dungeons. By clearing these dungeons, they can kill monsters, which gives them the ability to level up and gain attributes, which in other words makes them stronger.
As Zhao Yu enters the inner world, who we're just going to call JJ from here on out,
He hears a voice asking him whether he's ready to roll for his class. And of course he is. He's been waiting 18 years for this, right? So, I mean, of course he is. And he's just praying that, he gets a good class because everything is randomized. And as he stands there preparing for the results, a green glow surrounds around him with a skeleton. And it congratulates him for what is known as a hidden class. And what could this be? His eyes widen and they gleam, just waiting to see what this caption's going to say next. And it appears and it says Necromancer, which he's ecstatic about. Which rightfully so, because it's an extremely rare class, and there is literally only one or two people in the entire world that can become this class. As long as he has enough mana, with just a wave of his staff, he can make an entire undead army. In general, this gives him an advantage over other players. Which reminds him, maybe we should check his abilities before we get too excited. He switches over to his attributes to see what's going on. He's got 10 strength. That's amazing. 6 defense. 9 agility. 0 spirit, which is the most important ability for a mage. The beginning attributes are distributed randomly, and the highest can be 10. But what the fuck kind of necromancer is this guy going to be with 0 spirit, Now, as pessimistic as Q can act, he still has one more chance. And the voice asks, "Are you ready to roll for your talents?" He cries, "Yeah, sure, why not? Doomed anyways, it's not like it's going to make a difference." Now, talents are separated into 7 grades, from F to S. F being the worst, S being the best. Now, oddly enough, when he rolls, he gets a grade known as Unknown. This talent is known as Brave Heart of a Mage, which grants him 10 attribute points in any ability that he chooses. How convenient for a little crybaby, right? He just happened to need those attribute points. That's just perfect, isn't it?
so not only does he get 10 free attribute points, but he can also increase other attribute values to the same value as a certain attribute value. So, for example, if he has 10 strength, he can raise the value of all other attributes to 10 as well. Now, the catch is that he has to kill someone with a physical attack, which shouldn't be hard, right? He's got 10 strength. Easy enough, right? Which is a really big deal because the only way to get attribute points is to train super hard or to level up. So you can see how this becomes an advantage. This ability is also used to his discretion. So if he decides to, say for example, hold this ability until he has 1,000 strength or even 10,000 strength, he's able to use that ability to make it to where he has 10,000 in all attributes. After having a literal mental breakdown because he realizes how lucky he is, he realizes there's only one choice. Put all of his 10 attribute points into strength, because the physical attack is the most important thing, isn't it? All that's left now is to register and finish what is known as the beginner's task in order to obtain his class. He is teleported to a stone bridge where he meets a elf woman in a green dress. She introduces herself as Elaine and asks if he needs any help. He realizes she's very pretty, but she's a fucking NPC. And so he just lets her know that he's there to register and accept his beginner task. She lets him know it's no problem, but before starting, she gives him a gift. Inside this gift is an old robe, a staff, and a book for summoning skeletons, which is completely fucking useless because he has 0 spirit at the moment. At least he has 20 strength, so he can take this staff and whack a moldy enemy and give them a little knot on their head, am I right? He turns to Elaine to ask what his beginner task is. She lets him know that it is something known as Escape from Misty Cave. In order to escape from Misty Cave, you have to find the quickest way out without killing a skeleton soldier. Before getting the chance to explain the rest of it to us, he runs through the portal, like a dummy, off to the races. Zhao Yu appears in this misty place full of skeletons and death. He begins to think back. Was Elena saying something? Because he has such a short attention span and he's such a dummy. But it can't be that hard. It's a beginner's task, right? And as he thinks that, something begins to approach him from behind. And can you guess what it is? It's a skeleton soldier. Level 1. He has 20 health, 5 strength, 0 defense, and 1 agility. In one motion, Zhao Yu turns, clubbing the skeleton with his staff and killing it instantly. After killing the skeleton, he is rewarded with another attribute point and 3 experience points. Not only that, because we know how lucky my boy is, he's also rewarded with the passive skill known as Miracle of Might. What this does is makes it to where he can take each point of his strength attribute and convert it into 2 points of attack power. Now he has 21 strength, and usually 1 point in strength equals 1 point in attack power. And attack power is what determines the damage. So, since he gets 2 attack power for every 1 of strength, that means he would do 42 damage every turn. Which basically doubles his strength, which is a crazy advantage. As he takes time to comprehend this, 4 hands reach up out of the ground. It's more skeleton soldiers, and they zip through the sky attacking with quickness. He kills all 4 skeletons with ease, which gives him 4 more attribute points and 12 experience points. This causes him to level up, which grants him another 5 attribute points. He decides to put all of these into strength, overall putting his strength at 30 points. Other players are lucky to have 10 points in 1 attribute, and here this dude is just breaking the game. This dude, I do not want to hear him cry a single time in this entire manhwa. Let's keep going. Now let's look back at the numbers. We're now sitting on a solid 30 strength, 6 defense, 9 agility, and 0 spirit. But we still got 40 mana and 20 health. So, I mean, dude, this kid is killing. He starts to think, are these skeletons just for farming levels? No, idiot. I don't actually think you were paying attention earlier, but, whatever. And as he's saying that, a giant skeleton pops out of the ground with green misty eyes, and he has a big-ass shield and is covered in heavy armor. It's the skeleton captain. He's level 3. He's got 50 health, 15 strength, 20 defense, and 1 agility. Now, that 15 strength is going to go a long ways because you got to think his crutch right now is his strength. He's got 20 strength, but he also only has 20 health. So 1 hit from this guy could be detrimental. Now, they both only have 1 agility. So what it's going to come down to is who can hit first. Zhao Yu quickly rushes him, swinging, but the captain blocks the attack and counters him, missing him but smashing the ground below. Zhao Yu sees an opening and strikes him, and he falls on his back, and he jumps into the air, striking him with the finishing blow, killing the captain. After killing the captain, he's rewarded with 3 attribute points and 10 experience. Now he's starting to feel it. This beginner task is becoming a lot harder than what he thought he was going to be, and I wonder why. The captain's body dissipates and turns into this green mist, and then this yellow orb appears, and that's whenever he remembers the principal saying something in the past about a chance of these cores dropping after you defeating a monster, and they have random rewards within them. After opening the core, he is rewarded with a D-grade disposable item known as Skeleton Fist, and after using the Skeleton Fist, the next hit that he does will 100% have a chance of causing critical damage. Zhao Yu being Zhao Yu already getting ungrateful is just like, oh man, well I wish that was permanent. If you don't stop complaining, bro, I swear he is the biggest crybaby I've ever met in my life. This kid is so lucky, and I swear he could complain about anything. As he's bitching and moaning, 9 more skeletons decide to jump out of the ground and attack him. And he realizes the numbers are increasing, and this becomes a problem because although he can do a lot of damage, he cannot take a lot of damage. He still only has 20 health. Now, lucky for him, all of these skeletons only have 1 agility, so he takes them all out in 1 swift move. And this easily levels him up and grants him 10 more attribute points. It is very important where he puts these 10 attribute points, so he brings up his attribute list to study his attributes and his passive skills. Outside of the inner world, students are mingling, excited about their new class. They've already finished their beginner task. They're ready to go. But the principal still hasn't announced anything, so someone must still be stuck in the inner world on the beginner task. I wonder who that could be. I don't know. The students begin to laugh amongst each other. There's no way someone could fuck up this simple task. Right? No way. It's super easy. The skeletons are really slow. You really could just run from them, although they are strong, or that's what everybody thinks because they're not on his level. This starts to worry his friends, of course, and they start to wonder, where is Zhao Yu, and why is he not back? Zhao Yu, in the inner world, as oblivious as he could possibly be, is still killing skeletons, and he's sitting in the room wondering why has he not finished the task yet. And as he's thinking this very obvious question, all of the skeletons begin to rise off of the ground and combine together. They come together to create this giant green flaming three-headed skeleton known as the Skeleton King. And the Skeleton King is level 10. He has 400 health out of 500. He has 45 strength, 60 defense, 1 agility, and his skills are Bone Pierce and Bone Explosion. Zhao Yu's still a dummy, and he's over here like, there's no way this is a beginner task. And he's like, well, maybe they just want us all to die. And it's like, well, no, maybe you weren't paying attention in the beginning when Elaine was saying things that were extremely important to you, and you just kind of walked up in here doing your own thing. Fucking idiot. The Skeleton King takes a giant strike at him, misses, hits the ground, blows the ground out below him. He's lucky that he missed because if he did, it would have been an instant death, and he knows this. So he begins to think, what advantage does he have? The only advantage that he has is the Skeleton King isn't very nimble at all. So he has 1 agility, so he can hit him, but he also has 60 defense. So it's going to be hard to break his defense, so all he could do is roll the dice, hit him, and see what happens. JJ takes a swing. He hits. 32 damage. It's not much, but the way that he sees it, he does that about 10 more times. This will be 1 dead Skeleton King. Although he doesn't have much health, he does have agility. He has at least 9 agility, so he can dodge the hits, and he can do the damage. JJ attacks with a swiftness, hitting the Skeleton King one after another, doing upwards of 200 damage. The Skeleton King expresses how he's guarded the cave for years and never seen someone as strong as Zhao. He begins to crash out and become really upset because he's never had a newbie break through his defenses before, and he screams that brat cannot leave alive. The Skeleton King starts to go Super Saiyan and power himself up. He's becoming stronger. He's pissed. He swings, smashing the ground. He not only became stronger, he became faster as well. JJ jumps back, dodging the attack. He's not going to be able to break through directly like he did earlier. The only way that he's going to be able to do it now is by restricting the Skeleton King's movement. As the Skeleton King comes in for another attack, he looks up and notices that there's a boulder that's loose behind him. He blocks the attack, jumps back, and starts to taunt the skeleton. The Skeleton King jumps forward, swinging at him. Doesn't hit him fully, but brushes him right in the shoulder. He still takes 26 damage, leaving him with 4 health altogether. Now, although he took this damage, the Skeleton King did fall into his trap. As he threw that attack, he loosened that boulder behind him even further. So Zhao Yu jumps out of the way, and as he does, the boulder falls onto the Skeleton King, causing 70 damage. The skeleton is now incapacitated and is sitting on 129 health altogether. Zhao Yu knows that he cannot fight much longer. He doesn't have that much health. He's about to go down. So the only way to do this is to end it now. He's going to have to take him down with 1 strike. This is a perfect opportunity to use the skeleton boxing glove, which guarantees that his next hit is a critical one. Zhao Yu jumps in the air with the glove on one hand and comes down with his right hand into the face of the Skeleton King, doing 132 damage. The Skeleton King's body dissipates into a green mist, and finally, what he's been looking for this entire time, a screen pops up that says, "Congratulations on beating the beginner's task. You have now completed the Cave of Mist." This now officially makes him a player of the other worlds. For killing the Skeleton King, he was rewarded 40 skill points on top of 50 experience, and it also leveled him up 3 times. Not only that, because he's got to get some extra, he's got the Skeleton King ring as well, which is very rare. Now, the Skeleton King ring is a C rank level ring. After wearing it, his first normal attack's damage is increased by 50%. Now, the cooldown is 24 hours, but that's a huge advantage. It's not as strong as the skeleton boxing gloves, but it is reusable, and that's what's great about it. Not only is it reusable, but since it's a C rank piece, it's worth at least a few $100,000, so he is at least rich at this point. He begins to think back. It told me that this was the first kill of the Skeleton King, meaning that it's never been killed before. How on earth did everybody else pass this task? Well, probably because you weren't paying attention, JJ. You weren't. You weren't paying attention. Elaine was telling you good things and you weren't listening, okay? But he just kind of blows it off and he's like, oh, whatever, I'll just leave first and figure it out later. Overall, after leaving the cave, he left with 76 strength, 6 defense, 9 agility. We're still at 0 spirit. We have 200 mana though, 50 health, and we are at level 5. Zhao Yu appears back in the courtyard and is immediately rushed by his friend Yang Zhangdi. He asks JJ, what took you so long? What's been going on? We've all been waiting and no one's seen you. We almost thought you died. And he's confused because he's like, wait, so everybody finished that beginner's mission that quickly? And it's been 3 hours at this point since the last person came out. So yeah, everybody's finished it pretty quickly except for him. That's what happens whenever you do a bunch of extra shit and don't do the mission that you're told to do. Yang is excited, letting him know that he got the mage role and is extremely curious about what JJ got. But before he can answer, this voice comes out behind him, and it's this goofball, or the class monitor, known as Maffei. Maffei acts very cocky and looks at him, and he tells him that handsome does no good in the inner world, only skill. I don't know if that was a compliment or he was trying to diss the cat, but kind of sounds like he called him pretty to me. Do you know what my role is? Maffei says. And all this dude could think, JJ's just like, dude, why won't this kid ever leave me alone? Like, why is he always trying to pick a fight with me, dude? The principal arrives and lets everybody know that everybody is now a part of the other world and that they will be working the next day in their beginner training. And in order for everybody to get to know each other, he wants them to introduce themselves, their roles, and their talents. People begin to shout, I'm a soldier with a D rank talent. I'm an assassin. I have an F rank talent. I think I'm fucked. Then this beautiful woman with amazing tits says, I'm a mage and healer. Her name's Zhao Ziyu. She's a healer from the Disciple Realm, level 2. 3 strength, 6 defense, 5 agility, 6 spirit. She's a baddie, and everybody's sitting around her going, nanny, 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 which can be translated to wet nurse. Weirdos. Then we meet Zoyu. She's a small girl. She is a B rank talent, and she calls herself a knee shield. She is a paladin, level 2, 5 strength, 9 defense, 6 agility, and 3 spirit. Then we get to Maffei's goofball ass, who is a B rank talent swordsman. He's level 3, with 9 strength, 6 defense, 8 agility, and 4 spirit. Now this is a big deal, because the swordsman is a really powerful role in the other worlds. Not only that, having a B rank talent almost puts him amongst the ranks of geniuses. It comes down to JJ, and he lets him know, I'm a necromancer, and he keeps it on the down low. He don't even tell him what his talent is, because they already finna lose their mind. And you see the whole courtyard light up, like, dude, that's a hidden role. Ain't no way that's true, you know what I'm saying? Fuck me, ain't no way that's real, dog. Unimpressed, Maffei starts to think about the situation, and although it is a hidden role, mages are still very fragile, and necromancers are even weaker than, regular people because they spend so much time with the undead. So in order for them to survive, they really have to kind of make friendships with assassins and swordsmen and things that are, attack-focused roles in order to survive. People all around start to make all different kinds of comments, like, oh, I bet his talent's extremely low, and that's why he doesn't want to talk about it. And there's other people calling him a genius and talking about how modest he is for someone that has a hidden role, and all of these things. There's so much mingling going on around the circle because of this necromancer that just appeared, because you have to think there are very, very few necromancers in the entire world. Only 1 or 2. He has good reason for holding back his talent, though. I mean, he is a necromancer that can't even summon anything. He has no spirit at all. So he's trying to keep it on the down low. He doesn't want to make a big fuss about it with all of the other students because he doesn't want them to realize that really at this point he's just a giant disappointment. But even with that, the principal is ecstatic because after finishing his beginner's training, he could easily enter the nation's top universities. Everyone continues to introduce themselves, and after they are done, the principal lets everybody know that today class ends and tomorrow training begins. Yang walks back with JJ and he's ecstatic. He's talking to JJ and he's like, you're amazing, and He's really excited, like he's so happy that his friend got this necromancer role, but at the same time, he's also not looking too bad. He does have 8 points of vigor. He is a mage, after all, a level 2 disciple with 5 strength, 6 defense, 3 agility, and 8 spirit. JJ lets Yang know it doesn't matter what your stats are, as long as you work hard, you can get anywhere. But what he does know, he notices that all of his stats are single digit, and he has 76 stat points at this point. So is he not god level at this moment? JJ arrives to his house, yelling, "I'm home!" The house, no one is there. His parents had disappeared a long time ago. He just always says, "I'm home," every time he arrives at the house. It's something that his parents did and that he just continued, even after they disappeared. This life's parents were good to him. You know, after reincarnation, having these parents was great. It was a great feeling for him. But when he was 6 years old, they had to go to the capital and they just mysteriously disappeared. It's been 12 years. And this is why he needs to get to the Capital University so he can figure out the truth of what happened to his parents. The students arrive at school the next day to meet the principal, and he lets them know that today would be beginner's training and that if anybody feels that they are not confident in this training, that they should back down immediately because it's better to back down than to die during training. Although beginner training is very easy, this does reassure all of the students that this should be taken very seriously. The reason this needs to be taken seriously is because in the past there have been very crazy incidents. For example, previously there was a catastrophic incident where one beginner's world caused a class of 40 to be completely wiped out, all dead. There's still little known about what happened to those students. No one knows what this beginner world looked like. No one knows what happened to them. They all disappeared without a trace. The only thing that they know is that this world was called Nightmare Village. Now, there's no reason for everybody to be so serious. As long as they leave the other world in time, there'll be no problems. The principal has a stopwatch in front of him that counts 9 minutes and 36 seconds, and he lets all the students know that when that clock watch hits 0, everybody will be entering the inner worlds. The clock hits 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then this purple and blue hue surrounds everyone and they are instantly teleported into the beginner's world. When they arrive, they see this very quiet, very eerie village around them. And, you know, of course, the idiot, the little goofball, as we know as Ma Fei, is telling everyone, "Relax, I will protect you." What a goofy, you know? That's what I'm talking about. That's that class monitor bullshit. And that's all we got for today. Join us next time on Recap Rhapsody.